Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we're going to take the Polestar 2 out on Daily Motor's EV efficiency route. We're going to head out on the highway and do about 50 miles out and 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour to see what sort of realistic highway efficiency numbers you can expect with the Polestar 2. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a quick look at it. This thing is all sorts of new technology, new design, and an entirely new brand. Volvo's sort of luxury-ish electric-only brand, even though Volvo itself is also going electric-only. Even the design of this car sort of transcends boundaries. It's a sedan with a liftback, and it's kind of raised up. It's got some cladding. It's a lot going on here in this car. So, most importantly today is figuring out what sort of efficiency numbers we get at highway speeds. But if you do want to see more on the Polestar 2, check the links in the description. We've got a review of its Harman Kardon audio system, a full review of the car, and a comparison against our, not exactly the same, but electric nonetheless, Tesla Model Y. So we're all charged up here. You saw on the screen we're at 100%. Looks like the car's still taking a small bit of juice, but it should be pretty nominal at this point. So let's get it unplugged. Press the little charger release button. And put that in there. Close that up. Now our GPS is not going to reset until we get out into the daylight, because there's no way it could get signal in here. All right, we're going to get our climate control set to 73 degrees auto. Now, just like Volvo's, the climate control is a little wonky in here, and you actually can't set it 73. You got to go either 72 or 74. So we're going to give the EV the benefit of the doubt. We're going to go to 74, and then what we'll do is halfway through the test, we'll drop it down to 72. That should average 73, right? Auto is selected. Let's put the car in drive, and we get all of our settings here. We can reset our trip. GPS is going to reset, and we're good to go. A few things to note for today. Outside temperature is currently 76 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's going to heat up quite a bit, and we have this only somewhat tinted roof that's certainly going to warm things up in this cabin. Tire pressures have been set to the door placard, 41 psi front and 42 psi rear, cold. For our drive settings, there are no actual drive modes in the Polestar 2, but you've got some steering feel settings, ESC mode, one pedal driving, and creep. So for our one pedal driving, we have that standard, so that should be giving us as much regen as possible as we let off the throttle. So coming through to these stop signs, I'm not pressing the brake, it's just coming to a stop for me. And it is cool that the Polestar 2 still offers regen even when it's fully charged up. Another screen we've got is this driver performance screen. It's kind of vague. It shows you, I'm sure you can barely even see it right now with these dark colors in the screen, but kind of shows you sort of what chunk of efficiency you've been falling into. The Polestar 2 reports its efficiency in kilowatt hours per 100 miles. Not a big fan of that unit of measurement. I would prefer either watt hours per mile, or even best, just miles per kilowatt hour. But either way, you can kind of convert it to watt hours per mile just by moving the decimal place over one. Quick shout out to Grizzly Chargers, allowing us to have this Polestar for the week and keep it charged up 100% tip top every night. We're using it all the time with our Tesla Model Y, but because it's just a standard Type 2 J1772 charger, we can use it with all the electric vehicles we get, and it's worked great for this Polestar as well. So if you've got an electric vehicle and you need at-home charging, we highly recommend checking out Grizzly for their assortment of products. They've got the kind of just classic and smart chargers that just mount up on the wall. They also have some portable options, some smaller ones. So good prices, very quality build, built in Canada. Check them out for at-home charging. Polestar 2 is really quiet. You barely even hear the electric motors running. I really like that. Getting up to highway speed here, we're going to set our cruise control at a GPS indicated 73 miles per hour. Looks like the car reads about 1 mile per hour high. So if we settle in at, well, Actually, it seems fairly accurate. So let's settle in at 73. That should allow us to average 70 miles per hour over the whole test. Decrease our following distance here for the adaptive cruise control. Initial highway observations. Again, this thing is fairly quiet, even with this big glass reflective sound roof. It's absorbing sound pretty well. The ride is also pretty good. Not quite there with the Mach-E, but definitely a better ride than the Model Y. And just in terms of general cars, a little on the firm side, but not too bad. Alright, so we're going to continue on with the rest of the test and catch up with you at the end. In the meantime, enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip. Coming into the end of the range test here in the Polestar 2, this has been an enlightening trip. There's so much to know and learn about this car, both in its operation as well as just living with it and driving it and carrying out basic activities that just work differently. It's subtle, but it all adds up to a package that you can't necessarily just get in and feel immediately comfortable driving along. So in terms of range, we're doing quite well, and I really appreciate that Polestar is very accurate. This is one of my biggest complaints with Tesla, is that their range is like only for perfect conditions. I mean, you're going to get the 244 miles in our long range only if you're in truly mixed driving, and the efficiency numbers are accurate, but the amount of battery capacity is just not there. So I really like that in here we're getting 31.1 kilowatt hours per 100 miles, but that comes out to about 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour, which would put us right in range with the range estimates of this car, even here doing 70 miles per hour on the highway. I appreciate that. Overall comfort has been good. I really like some cooled seats. Even with the climate control set at 72 degrees auto now, it's toasty in here. I am warm. I'm sweating. I don't know if it's because of this big glass roof that isn't super tinted or what it is, but some cooled seats would really be nice, or just climate control that, obviously if I weren't doing this test, I would just dial it down until I'm comfortable. Road noise and road imperfections, ride quality, everything like that, pretty good. I'll be quiet for a second, let you listen to it. Decently solid. Again, the ride isn't super great. It's just average. It's a decent average ride quality. I don't know what that vibration is, though. I've been hearing it the whole time I've had this car, that little rattle sound. The sound system's quite good. I reviewed it here on the drive, so if you want to see the review of that, check the links in the description. The car would benefit from some more interior storage as well. There's just not much places to put things. If you had 2 water bottles, one for each driver and passenger, where are people putting the rest of their stuff? That is a bit of a disappointment. We're going to take it nice and easy back to the charger, plug it in, charge it up, and see what we get. 58% left, 140 miles of range indicated remaining, and that's after doing 104.6 miles. So That sounds pretty darn accurate to me. I love Polestar for getting that accuracy right. Final efficiency numbers, 30.5 kilowatt hours per 100 miles. Let's see what that is real quick. 3.278, so rounding up to 3.28 miles per kilowatt hour. Based on those numbers, if that's accurate, we could do over 250 miles on a charge here in the Polestar 2. But let's get it charged up and see how much electricity this thing actually takes. Many hours later, we have done on the Polestar 2. 260 miles of range according to the car at this point. Pretty darn good. So let's unplug the charger and see what we get for a result. So over 6 hours of charging, the car took 34.978, so essentially 35 kilowatt hours. Let's do some math. Okay, so let's look at these efficiency numbers. We know we did 104.6 miles, and let's round up and say we took 35 kilowatt hours from the charger. And we always assume a 90% efficiency rate at a level 2 charger, so 35 times 0.9 is giving us 31.5 kilowatt hours of electricity actually going into the car. So 104.6 divided by 31.5 is giving us 3.32 miles per kilowatt hour according to how much charge we put into the car. That is a really impressive number. So I think we're going to go with just 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour for our figure because the car, as you remember, said 3.28, and we're getting 3.32, so let's put it right in the middle. 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour times the actually 75 kilowatt hours of usable battery is giving you 247 miles of electric range here in the Polestar 2 at 70 miles per hour in the summer. That's a really good number. Keep in mind the EPA only claims 233 miles of mixed driving range. So that's a mixture of city and highway, and electric cars do better in the city. So I'm really impressed by the numbers we got. Not only that, but according to fueleconomy.gov, this thing's only rated for 88 mpg on the highway. So 88 divided by 33.7 to get that to miles per kilowatt hour. That's only 2.61 miles per kilowatt hour, and we got 3.3. So that's why I like doing these real world tests, is we actually get to see what you can achieve in the real world. This thing's got almost 4,000 miles on it, so the tires are still pretty new. You guys saw us. We were running the air conditioning. We were driving at 70. We weren't drafting or anything. So really impressive numbers here in the Polestar 2. 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour, just over 240 miles of usable range at 70 miles per hour. That's just about as efficient as our standard range rear-wheel drive Model Y, and definitely more efficient than the Mustang Mach-E. So even though it's got less usable battery, you should be able to go just as far on the highway as the long-range all-wheel drive Mach-E. So thank you all so much for watching. We obviously plan on doing this with all the EVs we get in here. If you want to see more on the Polestar 2, like our test of the Harman Kardon audio system or our full review, check the links in the description. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.